You know what, Ant? It's really early, and I think it would be very effective if we play that drop acid PSA right away.
Oh, yeah. I like this one.
Well, every day we're finding stuff that we used to play on the old show. Mm-hmm. You know, we forgot about a lot of things because we were off the air for 2 years, and you know, we weren't able to take any of our stuff with us. So slowly but surely we're rebuilding the show.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of fun to rediscover things, you know?
I know, we hadn't heard them in quite a while, didn't have them, and now they're just turning up. What, do people send these in, or is Eric finding them?
Well, Eric is amazing. Sex Bagel does a great job for the radio show, and then the listeners are just taking it upon themselves going, God, I can't believe they don't have this clip and they're not playing it yet, and they're sending in stuff all the time. You know, we've said over the years that the Opie and Anthony show is truly the people's radio program.
Yes.
You know, when we start sucking, you know, that's when the listeners need to do their part.
Oh, I thought you were going to blame them.
Yeah, well, in a way
when
I am.
When we start sucking, it's your fault for not sending us stuff.
Well, they participate in the show, and, you know, sometimes we need them a little more than usual, right?
Right.
You know, maybe today we just tell the listeners, hey, this is your show today. What do you want to hear?
Ooh.
What do you want to do with this program today?
That's really giving them
a lot of responsibility. What would they ask for? I know what these sick fucks would ask for.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of sex, a lot of girls playing with themselves, which is just fine by me. Yeah, so we got the drop acid PSA.
I hadn't heard this in quite some time.
This was something that came out, I guess, in the early 70s, maybe?
Yeah, when they were putting out a lot of PSAs about drugs, drug use. Can't have your kid doing drugs. So they figured that if a young person was telling people what it was like to do drugs and how bad it was, that maybe your kid wouldn't do drugs.
Right. And I think the scenario is this lady is kind of hanging out in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Is Market Street in San Francisco? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah? Anyone? Bueller?
Yeah.
Anyone? My brother's giving a thumbs up, so I guess so. So, this is an example of why you shouldn't drop acid.
Right.
Because drop acid was all the rage back in the early 70s.
Dropping acid. But they also kind of hint that marijuana might be a stepping stone.
Yeah, it starts with marijuana and ends with acid.
Acid.
So this thing made us, I don't know, laugh pretty hard this morning as we were preparing for the show. And I think it's something you should play real early while people are still kind of waking up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's kind of creepy, too, you know, the sound effects and stuff.
The bad 60s and early 70s sound effects.
Right. Check this out.
Synthesizer.
I first dropped acid when I was 18. I was over at these people's house one night. This guy I went to school with was over there and asked me if I wanted to try some acid. I had read about it in the newspapers and heard a few friends talk about it, so I was curious. I was pretty jacked up on marijuana, so I decided to try it, and I dropped it. I don't know what I was waiting for, a flash or a rush or whatever, but I kept sitting there waiting, and nothing was happening. So I got up and then went to the dresser and put on a pair of pink capris and a green and brown blouse. I thought the colors were beautiful. So we tripped down to Market Street, and I decided to buy a hot dog.
Uh-oh. Ooh. She decides to buy a hot dog.
Hippie chick in her pink capris, little top.
Goddamn hippies. With the little hairy armpits.
Oh, you know, she's just a mess.
Going out for a hot dog.
And she's stringy-haired, greasy, hippie mess back then.
And she leaves the house, and she's probably not tripping that much yet.
Yeah.
Probably thinking, hey, this is not that bad after all.
Not bad.
It's just a little stronger than marijuana, but I think I can handle myself. I'm gonna hit the streets of San Francisco and get myself a hot dog.
My 70s Earth Mama muff was pushing out my capris.
Right.
Big friggin' Brillo pads.
Looked like I was smuggling a yo-yo in my capris. All right, so she's stepping out to get her hot dog.
Okay.
So far, so good, right?
No problem.
She probably has the munchies from all the drug abuse.
From the pot.
There you go.
And I decided to buy a hot dog.
The flying saucer came down. What the hell is that?
Yeah, it sounds like Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Cut, print, perfect. Perfect.
I was very hungry. And I had put mustard and ketchup and relish in the usual. And I put the hot dog up to my mouth, and somebody started screaming.
Uh-oh. 'Cause, 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 'cause
I didn't know what was happening, so I looked up at my friend Terry and said, "Did you hear that? Didn't you hear someone scream?" He said no.
He said, "Don't be a bummer."
I got the hot dog up to my mouth again, and I was ready to bite, and the scream got louder.
That's a sound effect of a scream back in the
I
early
know.
70s
What
or
the
something?
hell is that? The Moog synthesizer.
I think it would have been much more effective if it was an actual scream. The hot dog screaming at her. But instead they go with the sound effects. I backed up a little bit.
I got the hot dog up to my mouth again, and I was ready to bite, and the scream got louder. And it hit me. No, it couldn't be. And I looked down at the hot dog, and there was a face on him.
Uh-oh.
What kind of face do you think was on the hot dog?
On the hot dog. A little smiley wiener face. What was it? Then I realized it wasn't a hot dog at all. It was my friend Terry's cock. I put it up to my mouth, and it spit at me. Terry's having a good time, right? He's in San Francisco.
Yeah, Terry's a professional.
Summer of love.
He's like, hey, he found a new broad.
Right.
He's thinking, hey, she can handle the acid like me.
Free love. We'll do a little acid.
Go
back to my pad and bang.
Yeah, we're going to eat some hot dogs, and she's going to eat my hot dog.
Right, yeah.
Under the black lights with the lava lamps rocking.
This hippie bitch is ready to screw it all up.
Jefferson Airplane playing in the background, White Rabbit.
Of course
this guy's
it
like,
is.
yeah, baby.
Yeah, it's a great time to be alive, man.
But this broad is a buzzkill.
She's a bummer.
She's a real bummer. She's seen faces in a hot dog.
In a hot dog.
The summer of love, come on.
Supposed to have a good time. It's San Francisco in the 60s, man.
Right. Who sees faces in a hot dog? Except this bitch.
Bumming Terry out.
Eyes, nose, a mouth. I had put the ketchup to where it looked like his hair.
Redhead.
Right about now, Terry's like, oh, great.
Oh, boy. Now I'm going to have to babysit this acid head.
Right.
She's having a bad trip.
I'm going to go to Haight-Ashbury and see if there's any other broads that I can pick up.
Nose, a mouth. I had put the ketchup to where it looked like his hair. And he started telling me that I couldn't eat him. That he had a wife and 7 kids at home to support. And I stood there with this hot dog and asked Terry, "Do you know this hot dog is talking to me?" And he says, "Nah, let's get out of here."
What kind of answer is that?
Nah.
Hot dog's talking to me? Nah, let's get out of here. Let's screw.
Right.
Let's ball.
That's why I said, nah, let's get out of here. He's thinking in his head, all right, she's ready for some action.
He knows she's just going to ruin everything. Right. The guy gave her the acid, so he's like, he had the acid, probably used to it, knows how to do it and have a good goddamn time doing it. And she is just wrecking. He looked over, and she said the hot dog's talking, and he's, it's babysitting session now.
But that's why he wants to get out of there. He thinks he can get one in before she really crashes.
Quick, let's go back to my place. We'll ball, man, and then, everything will be groovy. Don't worry about it.
And then we'll crash.
Yeah.
And the hot dog admits he has a wife and 7 kids. I wonder if he spoke any Mexican accent.
And he says, "Nah, let's get out of here." He thought I was just faking. And I told him, "Look at the thing. He's got a face. And he's screaming." And the guy finally looked over, and he got on the same trip that I was on.
Thanks.
And we sat there carrying on a conversation with that hot dog. Finally, I decided I was just hallucinating, so I put it in my mouth and bit down.
It turns into a horror movie.
You know something? Perhaps if you're on acid and your hot dog is talking to you, even if you realize you're hallucinating
Thanks,
and you kind of talk yourself down a little bit, perhaps you should just write off eating the hot dog. You know what I mean? Like you kind of reach the point where you're like, look, I'm hallucinating. The hot dog isn't really talking to me. Perhaps I should put the hot dog down, though, and walk away.
Right.
Not bite it.
You will let me know if that hot dog stops screaming.
God.
Oh, that's good. Oh, my goodness.
I got to hear the scream.
So it screamed.
Listen to this again.
So I put it in my mouth and bit down. It's screamed so loud that you could hear it all over town, so I had to throw it on the ground and step on it.
That wasn't a hot dog, that was Terry's cock.
That was Terry screaming.
Terry screaming.
You weren't standing on Market Street, you were back in the room.
And the hot dog only had one eye, you ass.
And you only thought it was sauerkraut because he hasn't washed his pubes in a few weeks. Hippie dirtbag.
Relish and sauerkraut.
I put it in my mouth and bit down.
Yeah.
It screamed so loud that you could hear it all over town, so I had to throw it on the ground and step on it.
It was
And I
about
was jumping
this.
on this hot dog in the middle of Market Street.
It's about this time I realized that I forgot about the turkey in the oven at the house I was babysitting the baby at. When I opened the oven, I was horrified. I went back up to the crib, and there was a turkey in the crib. Where was the baby? That old gag.
Oh, man, I wish I lived during the acid years.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
Sounds like a great time.
Talking hot dogs.
Right.
She bit my hot dog.
Terry punched me in the face and poured hot coffee on my tits.
Street.
Only you. Wow.
I realized that I had murdered it,
Yeah.
and I took off screaming down the street, scared.
That must have been so funny to watch. So, this chick, like, dude, you should have seen what I saw today on Market Street.
Right.
This chick, like, she was kind of hot, hippie chick, but she looked pretty fucked up. And she's like, gets a hot dog and starts eating it. And then, dude, she's talking to it. She starts talking to it. And then all of a sudden, she starts jumping up and down on it, screaming and running away. It was great. You should have seen it. She freaked out. Acid sounds great.
Yeah, it sure does. And that's how it ends. Her just running down the
Running
street
down
screaming.
Market Street screaming with hot dog on her shoe.
And I guess it's then the PSA just said, "Don't do acid."
Don't do acid?
Or something like that.
Was that it?
I don't know.
They have a clever slogan?
Who knows?
I know. I did mescaline. That's about the only kind of acid type stuff I did.
Shrooms, bro. Come on.
Shrooms? Never did the shrooms. I was a mescaline guy back, I guess when...
Back in California?
No. It was when Van Halen... I forgot what Van Halen album it was, but it was definitely David Lee Roth. And I went to the Nassau Coliseum, and I took some mescaline with my friends, and we were going to watch Van Halen. And everyone was peeking, dude. Everyone was peeking except me. I'm just sitting through the concert, you know, having a good time and stuff. And then all of a sudden, David Lee Roth started screaming. So I was the designated driver because I wasn't.
You're the designated driver and you're on mescaline.
But I wasn't feeling anything. Everyone else is laughing their asses off because mescaline just makes you laugh at everything. It's very funny. And I figured, you know, I'd drive, you know, because I drove there. And who am I saying designated driver? I drove there. I was driving back regardless of how fucked up I was. We all get to the car and hop in. It's raining. So we start driving out of the parking lot, and I noticed the windshield wipers are starting to really get loud, and I'm really noticing them.
Oh, you're completely focused on them? Oh, man.
And I couldn't stop thinking about the windshield wiper.
Was it going in slow motion, too? Like
It started. Then the taillights of all the cars, because, you know, just getting out of a concert, all you see are taillights everywhere. And the way they were kind of, the light of the taillight was being diffused on the drops on my windshield, and the windshield wipers going back and forth, and they were kind of going in slow motion. And now the red taillights in the wipers were making these streamer kind of stretched out red colors, and the sound was just really getting with the red lights going. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I just started going and the guys in the car are like, dude, you right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, man. They're like, oh, Anthony's fucked up, man. Don't worry about it. And I drove home.
It all of a sudden turns into a Cheech and Chong movie for you.
I was driving down the parkway.
Yeah.
And laughing. Didn't know if I was doing 80 or 8 miles an hour.
No clue.
Had no clue. And that was my mescaline time at Van Halen. But, you know, that kind of stuff, if you don't let it run away on you, it's kind of fun.
It is fun until you see faces in the hot dog.
Yeah, once you start getting hot dogs telling you they have families, and then biting it and it's screaming, that would freak you out a little bit. I know I ate glowing French fries when we went back down to the pizza place we all worked at, and there were French fries underneath the heat lamp in the kitchen area, and we all came back from the concert, went to the restaurant we worked at because we get free food, and we went into the kitchen, and the French fries, I started eating them off the rack up top, where it was under the heat light, and they were glowing like the Marcellus Wallace's suitcase when John Travolta opened it up. It glowed like that, and I kept eating them, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit because I thought I was going to have some kind of radiation in my stomach. But no talking hot dog, just glowing French
With
fries.
a face and 7 kids.
7 kids.
That's hilarious.
I wasn't screaming down Jericho Turnpike with French fry on my shoe.
Well, there you have it. The drop acid PSA.
Yeah.
We forgot all about that.
Nice.
That thing.
Groovy.
It's yeah, that was a trippy time back then, huh?
Have some acid, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.